Are you ready for some Shakesyear? All right, so today we're in Act 3, Scene 6. Yesterday we were in Act 3, Scene 5, and we met Mariana, her sister Diana, and her mother, who were hanging out in a bar in Florence. And they're like, there's these French guys that are around, and maybe be careful around these new French guys. And then another woman walks in, they're like, hey, here's a lady we don't know, maybe we should offer her a place to stay. Turns out said lady is Helena, and they're like, oh, and by the way, there's also these French dudes hanging around. Maybe you know these French dudes. And she's like, why would I know these French dudes? And they're like, well, and one of them, like, his name is Bertram. And she's like, Bertram? And they're like, yeah, and we heard that he was married to this woman, and he really didn't like her. And Helena, in disguise, is like, oh, well, that's too bad, and his poor wife. And hey, where are these French dudes? And they're like, right over there. And she's like, oh, well, maybe you should show me to where I'll be staying, and come on up and chat, because maybe we could chat about a couple of things. So anyway, now here we are with Bertram and two of his French lords, the first and second lords, French lords, Dumaine, and they're chatting, and they're trying to convince Bertram that Parolles is not the, he's not really on the up and up, and maybe Bertram shouldn't be hanging out with him anymore. Because now that we're late in Act 3, we might as well get into everybody messing with everybody, right? Right? What better time to do that? So, anyway, Bertram is like, really? Is he that bad? And they're like, we have a plan. And the second French lord, Dumaine, says, I, with a troop of Florentines, will suddenly surprise him. Such I will have, whom I am sure he knows not from the enemy. We will bind and hoodwink him so, that he shall suppose no other but that he is carried into the leaguer of the adversaries, when we bring him to our own tents. Be but your lordship present at his examination. If he do not, for the promise of his life, and in the highest compulsion of base fear, offer to betray you, and deliver all the intelligence in his power against you, and that with the divine forfeit of his soul upon oath, never trust my judgment in anything. So yeah, they're playing a pretty high-stakes game here, where they're going to try to now set up Parolles, and they're going to kidnap him to make him think that he was kidnapped by the enemy, but really wasn't, and then they're going to interrogate him to see just how deep his loyalties lie. Anyway, we'll get into some more messing with people tomorrow in All's Well That Ends Well. Mwah.